put yourself in this plane. Matt Hall was the pilot of the jet that I spoke about. It's pitch black and you're in a very dangerous airspace. There's a missile locked on. You have 8 seconds to survive. Go. Let's listen to Matt Hall's take on that 8 seconds.
Yeah, so I was in combat operations in over Iraq in 2003, flying with the United States Air Force. It was nighttime. We were in an environment I was not all that comfortable being in. We were a bit lower than I'd normally like to be because of a situation we were dealing with. I was in a right-hand turn. My lead was out in front of me. I'm on night vision goggles, and I'm looking down, clearing underneath us, just to make sure nothing's being shot. And I see a missile get fired, and it blooms, and it just starts racing forwards. So I do my first defensive maneuver. I reverse my turn and come back aggressively in this direction and look underneath the jet to make sure it's still going that way, and I'm clear of it. As I turn, it then turns with me and keeps coming up this way. And I go, that's interest. So I reverse the turn and come back the other way. Now I'm putting a lot of stuff out of the jet to try and decoy the missile. I come back this way and it's come back with me. I'm like, okay, it's definitely on us. I then go into my last ditch maneuver because it's a very short engagement for the altitude I was at, and rolled to go over the missile, and at that point I lose sight of it because it's burnt out. So I roll, I can't see it, and it was, no kidding, a roll. It was just like, we're either gonna blow up or we're not. I finished the roll and went, I don't know if it's past us or not yet, so I do another one just to be safe, just to try and keep it away from me. I don't know where it went. I don't know how close it came past us, but it missed us.
I wanted to reenact this. Here it is here.
Basically, you can imagine I'm at about 20,000 feet, flying along over pitch black over Baghdad, and I just happened to be in a right-hand turn like this, and I saw the launch. I went, that's interesting. I typed slightly, came back this way and looked at it full, and it came with me. I went, that's not good. Came back this way, looked at it again, went, it's still with me. I pulled up, went over the top of it, I lost sight of it, and went, it's still white on me. Rolled over it again, and it lasted that long.
Wow.
That's how long it took. Everything was good, and I'm about to die, and everything was good again.
Okay, so that was me in a joy flight with Matt Hall. I did it in a joy flight. Matt Hall did it in a $100 million fighter jet, in pitch black, in one of the most dangerous airspaces in the world. He survived it. How did he keep his cool? How do you keep your cool under so much pressure? Let's find out.
Trained in Australia, I was still an Australian fighter pilot on an exchange program, and I flew single-seat Hornet. So I was used to operating on my own, in a single-seat aircraft. So it was supposed to be a benefit to have the back seat, and we actually went into more higher risk situations because we had 2 people in the one cockpit able to do twice as much work.
Right.
Whereas it ended up that I was effectively in a single seat environment, in a high risk environment, but because of my training being a single seat pilot, just survive and keep the jet alive, kicked in, and was able to get away with it.
So he kept the jet alive, were his words, but he also kept himself alive. The reason he did that was through preparation. He knew what to do. Let's listen more, let's go a little bit deeper in how Matt Hall prepared.
So I was selected to go on to our version of Top Gun, our fighter combat instructor course, and that's where you really become effective at not just the basics of flying a fighter, if there is such a thing. All the fighter pilots are, are very, very capable of operating their aircraft, but when you go on this course, think of, it's a bit cliche-ish, but think of Top Gun. We're now training to the next level. Yeah. And that's where we really worked on my particular course, we really started to work on aggressive surface-to-air missile evasive maneuvers. And we were, this is back in 1999, and we were one of the first, it was one of the first times in our Royal Australian Air Force that we put a dedicated program together to train against surface-to-air missiles in a very aggressive fashion. Rather than just go this way, hope it doesn't hit us, it's how to actually engage the missile back and beat it.
So he was training to the next level. Let's listen more.
If you have the right mentality and the right brain space, if you've trained well, when the pressure comes on, you fight well. And that's exactly what happened.
If you train well, you fight well. Let's dive a little deeper and let's go through the checklist. Number 1, did he know what to do? Yes, he did know what to do. The reason he knew what to do was because you've just heard it from him, the way he prepared. If you prepare well, you fight well. Number 2, did he have the resources to do it? So the resources were his skills, his mindset, his ability to keep his cool under pressure. Under the most pressure situation you can be in, he reverted back to his training. But also the resources were the actual jet that he was flying, the tools that he was using, but a major resource was him. But that only come from the preparation. Number 3, did he really want to do it? Well, I guess he really wanted to survive, as you would. But if you listen to the podcast, go to the full podcast, link will be in the bio. If you listen to it, you will understand there was evidence of want from a very young age. From the time he was saving 50 cents by doing little jobs to pay for his own lessons. There was sacrifices along the way. There was many sacrifices, family sacrifices to the end, where he's basically sacrificing his own life if need be. So there was evidence of want to even be in that position in the first place. I want to ask him again, tell us about the jet you were actually flying.
It looks like a jet fighter, as you'd expect, but it's a very large jet fighter. It's only got 2 seats in it, can travel at twice the speed of sound, carry a huge amount of armament. It's an amazing aircraft. It's bigger than an F-18, and I only flew it for 3 years on the exchange program, but I happened to be in America on that aircraft when America went into Iraq on Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I went in with my American squadron as an Australian officer still, flying their aircraft in combat operations. So it was an interesting situation in my life, and it's one of those things that there was some very proud moments there. I feel like I did some things that were worthwhile. There's some quite sad times of my life from when I was there as well.
He was traveling in a jet that travels twice the speed of sound. I'm still trying to get my head around it. I hope you've been able to visualize that and respect. He knew what to do, he had the resources to do it, and if you listen to the full episode, you'll find out a little bit about how much he wanted to be there. Matt Hall, it was one of my favorite episodes to ever record. It still is one of my favorite episodes to listen to. Listen to the whole episode and you'll find out a little bit more about his racing. We've been down the military side, which I have so much respect for anyone who's ever served in the military. I respect Matt Hall so much, but there's a part of him, he's a world champion, Red Bull air racer, and we go into that in depth also. But for this deep dive, I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back next time. Please like, share, subscribe, send it to anyone you think it may help or inspire. Thanks for listening.